Welcome back to the Transforming Mind to Transforming Life, the podcast. You're listening to 5 Minute Fridays with Coach Myrna. Today, I want to talk to you on the topic how to go from overlooked to overbooked, the ultimate blueprint for success. I was listening to a webinar a few weeks back, and, the host made a startling revelation, and that is when you are building and when you are being overlooked, then you have to chase people. You have to beg them to buy. You have to beg them to listen to your podcast. You have to beg them for everything. But when you have notoriety, then people chase you. So that's should be the ultimate goal for everyone is to become overbooked and have notoriety. So, this episode is going to give you some tips and tricks, the ultimate blueprint for success. Okay, so have you ever felt like you're shouting in to avoid working tirelessly but struggling to get noticed? Maybe you have the skills, the expertise, and the passion, but the opportunities just seem to pass you by. The truth is, being overlooked doesn't mean you lack value. It simply means it's time to shift your strategies, level up your visibility, and position yourself as someone people can't ignore. So, here are some ways to level up. Here are some ways that you can transform your business or your life from being overlooked to being overbooked, which is an amazing feeling when you're turning things down left, right, and center because you don't have the capacity for them all. Isn't that great? So, number one is own your own value proposition. Before you can convince anyone else, you need to be 100% clear on what makes you special. Ask yourself, what problems do I solve? Why should someone choose me over anyone else? Define your niche. Whether you're a coach, a freelancer, or an entrepreneur, being a jack of all trades wouldn't cut it. Specialize and make your expertise undeniable. People don't pay for generalists, they pay for experts who deliver results. I also did another webinar recently. I'm always learning, I'm always reading, I'm always going to webinars. And this webinar was about creating a course because I'm working on mine. Creating a course. And the first thing it says is to create a course, you've got to figure out what it is that you do that it is of value to someone else. What would someone pay for if you've got expertise in something? So yeah, you got to define what is your unique proposition and then figure out if the proposition is something that someone would pay for, whether it's, a course or whether it's a book, when you're going to do something, make sure that you do it so where people are interesting in that topic. So that's the first thing. Don't generalize. Become an expert and a specialist, right? Number two, you've got to amplify your personal brand. I can go on. I go to all these webinars. In fact, the webinar that I was on that talked about notoriety was building your personal brand because it is so important in this business climate. Your brand is your story, and it's how you communicate value to the world. The first thing you got to do is you got to show up consistently, whether it's on social media, networking events, on your website. Make sure your message and presence align with your goals. Leverage social proof. Highlight testimonials, reviews, and case studies to prove that you deliver results. Be visible. Consistently post content that showcases your expertise and help your audience solve their problems. Value driven visibility is a magnet for opportunities. You know, I go between posting too much where people are going to get tired of you or posting just enough. But they tell you that you're supposed to post 4 times a day. I don't got time for that, but I think everybody's going to be tired of me. But I try to post once a day. And that's the minimum that you should be doing. Posting some content once per day, because guess what? Facebook likes it, Instagram likes it, everyone likes it. The more you post, the more they increase your reach, right? And if you're going to be doing a podcast, then you've got to consistently upload episodes. You can't do one episode this week and another episode in a month from now, because not even iTunes is going to want to post your stuff because you are not consistent. So it's important. Set a schedule and stick to it. Now, the third one is falling by the wayside these days, but it's still very important. You have to network like a pro. When I started, business, 20 years ago, everybody was going to these networking events and you pass out your cards and you're on LinkedIn and you're networking. But guess what? Social media is now a form of networking. So you've got to network like a pro, because guess what? Your network determines your net worth. Yep. It's always who you know. Start building relationships strategically and give before you ask. Always give more than you ask. Offer value, advice, or support to people in your field before pitching your services. Leverage referrals. Happy clients can become your best advocates. Ask them to recommend you to others who might benefit from your expertise. People still ask me for an introduction because, hey, it goes a long way. Yes, introduce you to someone because you're actually recommending them, adding value to who they are. Attend industry events, whether it's virtual or in person, showing up where your ideal clients are or collaborators gather. It's essential. One of my goals for this year is to go to more in-person events, because we're all in this Zoom and we're always on all these networking events. That's virtual. I would like to be in the room with other people, feel the energy, and actually meet people, hand out cards and meet people in person, because I think it's a beautiful way to build your network. Upgrade your offerings is number 4. If you're overlooked, your current offerings may not be compelling enough. Get your skills creatively. Can you bundle services or create a premium offer that's too good to pass up? Solve urgent problems. People pay top dollar to solve pressing issues. Make sure your services address something your audience needs now. Raise your prices. Ironically, low rates often signal low value. When you price yourself competitively, you attract higher quality clients. Now, this is a hard one because, we always have this natural inclination to discount, right? To say, well, somebody is not going to pay this for their services. Let us discount. But I can tell you, it's very true. When you charge more, there is a perceived value, which is why everyone is charging a lot now for their products and services and their coaching and whatever, because they're trying to say this is the value. Even if you start high, oh, this is a $20,000 value, but you're going to get it for $5,000. You're still not saying it's $199 because nobody is going to think that it's valuable at $199. So yes, make sure you upgrade your offerings. It's one of those things that is very difficult to wrap your head around, especially if you always thinking that, nobody is going to be buying your stuff. It's expensive. So number 5 is you've got to master the art of self-promotion. When I am on YouTube and when I'm in, a webinar, I'm always impressed by how people promote themselves. And you need to learn from them. That's why I go to these webinars and that's why I go to these things, because I'm learning. I'm not necessarily buying these courses, but I'm learning from people how they do things, right? So self-promotion can feel uncomfortable. But if you don't believe in yourself, why should anyone else? Share your wins. Post about your successes on LinkedIn and Instagram, or wherever your audience hangs out, Facebook. Collaborate with influencers. Partnering with an established voice in your industry can skyrocket your visibility. Pitch yourself. Don't wait to be discovered. Search out podcasts, blogs, media outlets, and position yourself as a thought leader, which is why podcasts are become so popular because that's a way to amplify your voice. That's the way to promote yourself. Podcasts. It's the top thing right now. Number 6, deliver results that speak for themselves. Going from overlooked to overbooked isn't just about talking the talk. You've got to walk the walk, right? Exceed expectations. Surprise your clients with results that go above and beyond. Ask for feedback. Learn what's working and what's not so that you can continuously refine your process. Build long term relationships. Overbooked professionals don't chase new clients. Like I said, you become, you have notoriety now. They're chasing you. They nurture the ones they already have. And the secret sauce is consistency. This is so, so important. Transformation doesn't happen overnight. The key to moving from overlooked to overbooked is consistency. Show up daily, refine your strategy, and be patient as you build momentum. Success is a marathon, not a sprint. And you've got to believe that if you build it, they will come. At least I believe that. And it's happened, right? Remember, being overlooked is temporary. With the right mindset, strategy, and effort, you can position yourself as the go to authority in your field. The opportunities are not there. You just need to step up and claim them. Ready to get started? Take one action today that brings you closer to being overbooked. Whether it's revamping your social media profile, I was on a conference the other day where I was one of the presenters, and one of the advice I gave to people is that social media is important. You have to have followers. You have to post. You have to maintain your social media profile. Nobody's going to look at you if when they go on social media, they can't find you, right? It's important, right? Whether it's like I said, whether it's revamping your social media profile, getting some followers, sending out a proposal, or simply believing in your value, every small step counts. So let's go ahead and make your transition from being overlooked to being overbooked, your next success story. All right. So I hope that you were inspired and maybe you had some aha moments from this message today. Because, yes, you want to be overbooked. You don't always want to have struggle beside your name. You want to have flow, right? So these are some ways that you can go from being overlooked to being overbooked. If you have a comment, I would love to hear it. If you're watching this on YouTube, leave a comment. Let me hear your success story. If you're watching this on iTunes, would love for you to subscribe. I have these 5-minute coaching sessions every 2 weeks. So I would love to have you as a regular listener. Thanks again for tuning in. And until next time, namaste.